Hello, welcome to the podcast from Duendelvin. I'm Taylor, and here we have Jeff and Kyle. Today, we will be talking about Garthia again. Well then, what cities did we not cover in the last few episodes?
A bunch of them.
Thanks to me and my flying of Kungan, we didn't get very far last time. We made it to the Halfling Police Force city, which is, I think we only covered 3 cities. Yeah. 3 cities last
We're halfway
episode.
through the cities.
That's like not even 10 minutes per city.
Yep.
Oh.
So, all right.
So yeah, we got asked the question about the uniforms, and actually I'm excited about this. We did some work, and we're going to cover that at the end of today's episode.
Yeah, if we can get there.
If we can get there. So the next city, Jeff, is
Anvers,
oh,
the city of metalworking with a population of 571,000
a lot of forges, a lot of heat.
forges. Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
I don't know what else. So anything that would be metal armor, metal weapons,
Horseshoes.
but also, yeah.
We don't have horses.
Irbasol shoes. Horseflant shoes.
No, they're not called that anymore. We took that away.
Shoes for Bernardegard. Oh, I found the
Bernardegard.
what it's called now.
What do we call
I
it?
found the list. I'll pull it up when you're explaining this in a second. But yeah, so Anvers is metalworking, and so anything that's related to metal. So nails would come from here, stuff like that. So
It's like that because it's got the hills. It's got hills and it's got access to raw minerals, and so you have a lot of earth mages and miners who are bringing that metallurgy to. It's very rich, very very ridiculous amount of metal in the soil there, and so the earth mages, the way they work it is they would effectively like scoot the earth out of the way, pull up the minerals. People gather the minerals up, and then they put the earth back in. So it's a very specifically functional type of mining, so they're not doing a whole lot of damage to their environment.
Alright, and...
We're not like digging into the earth. No more diggy hole.
yeah,
Do the goblins run it?
So each city is run kind of independently, but you have a lot of goblin craftsmen who would call Anvers home.
you'd have a lot of goblin craftsmen that call everywhere home, because goblins aren't metalworking craftsmen
They're
from their
every
creation. They're everybody craftsmen. So your best everything, your best clothers would be, your best.
Yeah, all of them would
Yeah,
be.
you know what I'm saying.
Your highest tier craftsmen are mostly going to be goblins. Now, there's always the exception to the rule. There's exceptions out there, but the majority of the greatest craftsmen in history are goblin. Matter of fact, goblin-made equipment that has existed prior to the affirmation is considered legendary equipment because they don't have the Great Forge anymore. So the ability to make equipment on that tier is not as possible. We're talking like that was godly assisted crafting process that is no longer available to the goblins. So some stuff has been lost to time.
Yep.
Alright.
So
Is there anything else notable about how this city works?
not
I
particularly.
mean, we covered the tram system in the last one, which is also part of what sent us to space, and how they handle their dead.
So yeah, Anvers.
Alright.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
So who's next?
Avermine. Evermeyer.
there we go. I was like, I don't think we have Evermine. It's
I
Evermeyer.
spelled it wrong on the paper.
Oh no.
It's Evermeyer, the city of alchemy, with 693,000 people.
Just where you can get your drugs. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, this is where the Minotaur hang out.
Alright.
This is where you're gonna have a lot of like greenhouses, a lot of plant cultivation for minor like small planter boxes. You're also gonna have your wood treatment is gonna happen from here, like the chemicals you would apply to ships to keep them sealed, not just magic, but it's assisted in that. You're gonna have, we joked about drugs, but yes, you would have your psychedelics would be coming out of here a little bit. These are 2 places to get it, from Avermeyer and from Dave's Moo Emporium.
Which is probably the second to last city.
Yep, we
we'll
could
talk
talk about that one.
about. So,
And you would have a lot of this place would be covered in smoke quite a bit. You would have like almost like a perpetual fog over top of the city from all of the chemical fire.
Oh, spooky.
Spooky.
I don't know,
like
it's
it.
spooky.
It's Halloween town now. Not flying Kungan, I promise.
So yeah, that's Avermire. I don't know that there's anything else. Like most of this, like the cities are pretty straightforward. Like that's the main produce, and because of the tram system and the way that Garthia is built, like the cities don't have to be. They're not designed to be self-sufficient. I mean, they're huge in their own right, and they're a long way, like, stone's throw. They're a long way from the other places, but you get on a tram and you're there in 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
The transference of goods allows them to function this way. So if someone attacked the tram system, it would be attacking the heart of Garthia. The heart of Garthia is not the center city. The heart of Garthia is literally the highway that connects each city.
yeah.
All right.
All right, so going up north of Avermire would be Nuwa.
And what does Nuwa do?
Farms. So it's the only place. So, okay, in Savarion, there's only one continent where farming is possible on a large scale because the weather in Wabi is stable enough that they can farm.
Wabi also has its secrets on how it's able to make
Yes.
such rich soil.
So Wabi sends rich soil to Nuwa to harvest and plant and do stuff in Nuwa. So you have farmers like from Wabi, that's their home is Nuwa, and they gets a soil depository from Wabi that allows it to farm here. And so they would dig up soil, send it to Wabi, Wabi enriches it, sends it back, and they use it. And so they'd have a constant supply. But you would be able to, in Nuwa, they will be able to regularly produce farming on a scale that's enough to support Garthia, but not anything else than that. And so that's what would happen with that. Mostly farming. Population is 190,000. I feel like I missed something up.
I don't think so. I think the idea there is, it's like a milkman structure where you get your dirt, you use your dirt, you replace your dirt, you get shipped out, but also Wabi still supplies Garthia with a lot of food. Nuwa is there to help offset that in the in-between on the shipping lanes because the traveling the seas is ridiculous. Also, It's extremely spread out. It actually has the second largest amount of land associated with any of the individual cities because bigger.
No,
land.
it's the largest.
I thought
Haven?
Haven was the largest. No, okay, my bad.
Haven's
It's the largest.
smaller. Nuwa
Nuwa, which
is the largest.
go figure. It's New Wabi, shortened to Nuwa.
Wabi.
New Wabi.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, New Wabi.
Nuwa.
Nuwa.
It's more fun to say. Nuwa.
It's the largest amount of land that a single city encompasses because it's all farmland.
Yep, it's
So
very
they need the most.
very flat. It's cultivated. So you have earth mages. Again, earth mages are a huge part of like standard life. They would go through and they would flatten out the land and then take the dirt from Wabi and be like and put it in there and help to enrich it. Plus, you'd also have manual labor work where they're going and they're tilling it and working it. It's magic makes things interesting.
Interesting.
Very fun.
It allows an ancient world design to have the infrastructure to hold hundreds of thousands of people.
Yep.
So.
Because we're also talking about how does it get its water. It takes we learned from The Martian, if you want to go watch that, he does the plant calculations for how much water you need per cubic meter of soil. I don't know it off the top of my head. Don't care. Not flying Kungan.
Yeah.
So we have, how do we solve that problem? Arcanists come out and they create well springs, and then you have irrigation canals. So you would actually have a lot of water. I don't know why. Water. Sorry. But you have a lot of water that would be functional to help cultivate that growth pattern as well. So Arcanists would also set up more in Nuwa than anywhere else because they'd be more regularly needed in Nuwa.
Right. And you'd have irrigation and aqueducts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I think that's it for Nuwa.
Who's next then?
Thea.
And what does Thea do?
It's the central port of northern Garthia. So when you look at the
eyeball.
Ian, can I get that camera? when you're looking at the eyeball, what?
No.
What?
Ian wrote IKEA.
So the city looks like this, right? And so Affirma's right here, and then Thea is right here on this part of the port, and it would be the central port, northern Garthia, home of the Farmers Union representatives. So while Nuwa is where the farmers are actually farming, Thea is where the Farmers Union headquarters are in Garthia. Mm-hmm. Obviously, their headquarters is actually in Wabi, but they post up in Thea.
So we won't talk about this too much, but the Farmers Union is they're like little robber barons because they hold the lifeblood between them and the pirates of everyone else from being able to function. If you piss off the Farmers Union or the Dwarven pirates, your food supply is cut off.
Well, your non-meat food supply.
Yes, your non-meat, your vegetation, your grains, your intermediary staples. Because yes, meat is going to be one of the primary sources, but you still need something else to complement and offset that.
Right, because you could order from Wabi soil so that you could grow plants in your own greenhouse and stuff like that. But because of the way the world works and the magic and everything like that, it would be hard to keep that. You'd have to have a renewable source, so you'd give back and all that kind of stuff. So in order to
so Vlesi,
except for Vlesi, but yeah, for the most part, growing crops is extremely difficult anywhere but
the soils.
It's what's the word when it's like it doesn't grow in a constant.
Yeah,
there's no way to know if it will take or if it'll grow or anything like that.
The soil's not conducive, and it has to do with the crazy weather patterns. So even if you build yourself a greenhouse, there's not a lot of rich nutrition in the soil to feed a lot of the plant life in a consistent way. Yeah. That's where the Wabi dirt is necessary.
Right.
And their secrets. And we'll talk about Wabi's secrets in the Wabi episode. I don't want to reveal that right now.
Yeah, but there is a plant Ian brought up called Vlesi, and it is essentially
a wild wheat.
It's a wild wheat. But the difference between harvesting with Vlesi and then harvesting with the wheat from Wabi would be the difficulty to cook, to make anything out of it. A bread out of Vlesi you could make, but it isn't going to be as nutrient rich or as tasty as your bread from the wheat made from Wabi's.
It's also going to be smaller. Like Vlesi in the wild is not going to be as thick and full and healthy like as Wabi or greenhouse grown. So wild Vlesi, yes, it's everywhere, but like you're going to get much smaller amounts. And yeah, it's just not going to be as healthy for you. You're not going to be as filling or nutritious.
Right. But it could. I mean, it could hold you, but
it's like, yes, I can exist off of, what is tack? Yes, I can exist off of tack, which is just water and flour, but it doesn't mean it's good for you and long term. And it's
All right. So, is there anything else on the city, or are we moving on?
Well, because I think one major important thing, because it's the central port, northern Garthia. So this city is 650,000 people. It's one of the larger cities, and it is the primary port city. So if you're traveling or moving goods to and from Garthia, you're going to travel through Thea. The other two port cities, we'll talk about them in a minute, but the other two port cities don't host quite as much travel and moving in and out. So I want to travel.
Thea is also going to be more grand because this is your first introduction to the capital of the world. So Thea is going to be like the introductory jewel just under the decadence of Affirma. Affirma would be like the godly central of the city, but then Thea would be the second reception. And we're not talking about like I'm a vacation city decadence. We're talking like very grand architecture, very beautiful marble. We don't actually have marble, but like marbleized in like appearance and
like in movies when they're in a new place and they're driving and they're taking all the pictures of all these cool things because they're in this they're in Rome or whatever, and so you see them take pictures of the Trevi Fountain and the pantheon and all of that kind of stuff. So that is what Wabi is like. You know, you arrive and it's
Not
like,
Wabi, Thea.
Sorry, Thea. When you arrive in Thea, it's like, this is what you have to expect in Garthia.
It definitely, yeah, they want to showcase that decadence, that capability, that wealth, and also that power.
Mm-hmm.
The best of the best are here. Are you worthy?
Are you worthy? Should you even be here?
Listen, dirtbag. This is the wrong port.
So yeah.
Your port's that way. Your port's further to the west. Which, just for those who don't know, we talked about this in an earlier Garthian episode, so if you haven't caught it yet, definitely go back and catch it. But the further west you go, the poorer it gets. Yeah. Our east side is our rich side, and our west side... west, sorry. Yeah. West side is the poor side. Yeah.
Poorer.
All right.
Poorer.
So if you go from Thea and you go east, the port city of Arden isn't actually a port city. It's a coastal city.
Coastal city, yep. Very wealthy.
And it is our boat repair and navigation training.
My bad. This isn't the wealthy one.
This isn't the wealthy one. So this one has 304,000 people. But if you have a boat that needs to be repaired, or you are in training to become a navigator, a dwarven navigator, this is the city where those things are produced and trained. Those people are trained. So...
Yep.
Right.
Our boat building.
Yes, sorry.
So boat production, fixing
Boat
up, and
production
training.
is a better way to say it. Thank you.
Our shipwrights exist here.
Yes. You need it built or fixed.
Yep. This is
So
also...
this would be a major Dwarven Pirates point?
They would
No.
Actually, no. Like, they'd just be their craftsmen. The Dwarven Pirates, their port is to the west. Go figure.
We'll get there.
Their hub. They hub out of the west because they've been at sea and they're surly boys. Anyway.
We'll get to it. That one.
But yeah,
We're a couple away from that one. But
I like this city. It's very functional. It has that kind of the UK industrial era kind of concept is what I picture a lot of this, where you're going to have a lot of like constant woodworking, constant action. The dry docks that you see, you're going to have there where they're building these massive constructions of whatever's being issued, because you can actually get your ship built to specs. You're going to have your Dwarven Pirates have their ships built here. And then every now and again, if you are a wealthy merchant, you get the permission to make your own ship and then have it be fueled or effectively navigated by the Dwarven Pirates. So Dwarven Pirates control the seas. You get their permission. Yes, you can be an independent boat owner, but you are paying through the nose, out your mouth to get that ship
go fishing
made.
or whatever.
It's a big deal. Yep, to transport your goods outside of the Dwarven network, you still are paying the Dwarven Pirates to navigate your ship, because navigators are necessary. And that's kind of how they control the seas and protect everybody else.
Yep. All right.
So then we have Caravel. The easternmost port, home to the wealthy admirals and fishing folk. High society, third most wealthy city in Garthia. Major export is sea perishables and delicacies. 253,000 people. You want to talk about why it's so wealthy?
So we talked a little bit about it. Like, if you want to have a boat, you gotta be able to pay for it. And owning a boat is a big, big, big deal, because you've got the wealth for it. And so the area is actually not as wealthy. The houses are more lavish, more grand. And, being able to afford to handle the seas is huge. And that's why we have our admiral. So, like, your yacht club, it's kind of a concept there. It's like that kind of gathering of individuals is there. And they, oh, yes, did you see how much I hauled in today? Oh, my gosh. Let me have my corncob pipe. It's not really corncob. It's solid gold, baby. Anyway, so it's wealthy in that respect, because not only do they make great income from getting sea perishables, right? They don't have to go...
a huge luxury.
Absolutely. It's massive. And we have crustaceans, we have fish that we still have to flush out on our flora and fauna, so we don't have specific fish for those who are fiending for the specifics. We'll get you the specifics eventually, but yes, they do fish and crustaceans and eggs, and that's a great question if you want to ask that question that Ian just typed up.
Are fish expensive?
Yes. So, okay, so you think about in our world, right? Fish isn't particularly an expensive commodity.
It can
However,
be.
lobster is.
Yes.
And
The process of fishing those
like
animals.
king's crab is really expensive and stuff like that. So in the world of Savarion, because fishing and owning a boat and all of that kind of stuff is so difficult and so high-end expensive, fish, anything that would be an ocean related thing, so your ocean fish, your ocean delicacies, so
These aren't river
we don't
betties.
have pearls, but things that would fall into that same category as pearls, which we're still working on, so I don't actually have that yet, but we will have that. But those kinds of things are going to be considered like you have in our world lobster, crab, delicacies. In Savarion, it would be this level before you even get ocean fish, right? And so those delicacies. So you have a captain who has figured out how to create a lot of wealth, goes to the Dwarven pirates and says, I want to fish off the coast of Garthia, pays the Dwarven pirates to be able to do that, gets 4 or 5 days a year that he can actually navigate the waters, fishes and gets, the delicacies and all that kind of stuff out of the water, and only can produce that stuff for,
Very limited amounts of
for
time.
a week or so out of the entire year. And so you're paying through the nose. I mean, that stuff goes straight to paradise.
Yep. You're either getting it in a firma or you're getting it in paradise.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Well, or
Either-
caravel.
Yeah, or caravel, because caravel, it's like,
So, but those kinds of delicacies, I mean, that super, super rich.
because we
kind of
have
thing.
river fish. Like, there's still rivers in the world.
And those would be basic.
But they would be very, like, you're talking like, I'm going to cast my pole and get me some catfish or some trout. Like, it's not as good as like, oh, check this mahi-mahi, bro.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was
Uh-huh.
thinking.
Mahi
It would
mahi
be the
sounds so
difference
good.
between eating mahi-mahi and river trout. Not
River
that
fish
river
doesn't-
trout is bad, but
No, but it doesn't
it's
taste
just
as good.
not as good. So, yeah.
All right.
Well,
that's,
what's
All right.
next?
Gemstone.
Huh. What does gemstone do?
Gemstone is oil refineries, jewelry makers, and stone sellers. Population 207,000 people. So I guess not a lot to that. Like,
Well, we can talk a little bit about it.
that's where
The
they make
fact that
gemstones.
our gemstones, like they're special because the kind of gemstone you get depends on the craftsman. The craftsman cultivates the stone. The stone does not dictate what is made, which is kind of cool. It's something in our world is unique. When you are doing your crafts work, you are infusing it with essence as you're working on it to give it its coloration and its different magical properties. So everything comes from one base function, and then the craftsman creates it into something new. Does that make sense?
That's pretty cool.
So it's the gemstone is found inside the rock.
Yep.
But the gemstone is a nothing.
Yep, it's like it's a blank. It almost looks like, as far as it goes, diamond in coloration. It would just be blank. Like a quartz is actually more
Yeah.
accurate. Like a clear quartz, and then you take that and you shape it and mold it into the facet and the gemstone you want.
And the color that you want. And then once it has a color, it can enhance abilities.
Yep, and hold a magical property.
So yeah, gems in our world are a big deal.
They're also really impressive because our highest value gem is our blackstone, our black gem, and it is not just as the craftsman. You have like most of the standard gems you get in the standard world of Savarion cannot support being crafted into a blackstone, even if, or a black gem. Sorry, not a blackstone, a black gem. Even if you have the skill as a craftsman, if I'm not mistaken, blackstone has to come from the underworld.
Right.
Yep.
That's the only one that does too.
That's the only one where the quality is so much more rich in the underworld than if you want to get a blackstone. That's why it's so rare and so ridiculous. To explain a little bit more, the blackstone lets you do some really cool things, like you can issue commands to
To a
anything imbued with the blackstone.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
It's
And
wild.
it's really cool.
All right, we have 5 minutes and 3 cities.
Woo!
All right.
All right, so Haven. Haven is the city of
Beasts of burden and cows.
the
but not cows.
the heaves. The two-brain omnivore is a cattle-like creature, and it never sleeps. One brain is always asleep. One brain is always awake, so you can't sneak up on it. So it's like a super
Eye pen.
aware animal, and so they figured out how to harvest it because they are the tastiest non-fish meat in the world. And so you harvest this best tasting meat of all the land animals. The meat changes flavor depending on its diet. So this city specializes on making meat that has a variety of tastes.
You want some honey meat?
And
You feed it honey.
Yeah, they also do herd and pack and travel animals and stuff like that. 216,000 people. But so what I like to equate it to is like bees, right? If you only feed bees blueberries, like they only have access to blueberries. There is a hint of blueberry in the honey, right? It's not like we add blueberry to the honey, it's in the honey, right? And so heaves are an animal that like what you feed them changes. And so you could be like, ooh, this steak tastes different.
Feed a heave meat, it's going to be tastier. If you give them a singular diet of different kinds of meat without feeding them heat, like you could even feed them heave meat.
Right.
Here you go, bro. Eat your brother.
Eat your brother. So this city specializes in that. It would also be where you would get your Irbisol and your
Jordish,
and
the eggs would also be cultivated here very quietly, very discreetly, and very minimally.
I don't know that it would be quietly, but it would be minimally.
Yeah,
because they're expensive.
They're extremely expensive, and they're hard to cultivate.
They're hard to cultivate, but they're expensive.
Those are we have 3 different types of animals that you hatch from an egg and then bond to them, and they actually create a neural link between you and your animal, which is really cool, but also really devastating. Because if your animal dies, bro, you comatose. You suffer the death of that animal as if you died. It's wild.
But you don't go comatose.
No, but you suffer that pain.
You suffer that pain.
So like it's pretty nuts.
All right.
Yeah. So like bond at your own risk.
Who's next then?
Garvin, the westernmost port, where most dwarven pirates call home.
Yep.
When not at sea. Representatives from the dwarven pirate exist here, home of some of the more illicit and illegal variety of goods and services. This is where they dispose of dead bodies, and their major export is alcohol. There's a population of 400,000 people here. So, yeah. So this is Tortuga, for lack of a better explanation.
It's a little lawless, a little wild.
It's like if Tortuga had class.
A little bit, yeah. Because like the halfling police force doesn't hang here. This is dwarven pirate turf. The dwarven pirates handle... Sorry, a question was asked and I got distracted by it. I'm not going to answer this question. I'm not flying yet. So the dwarven pirates handle discipline. They handle policing their own people. Yeah, so everything is handled here. Most of the dwarven pirates. If something is affecting Garthia as a whole, they need to send a raid. It's going to be a big deal. They're sending in the SWAT team to go into here to clean some stuff up.
Yeah. But
they're getting permission from the dwarven pirates before they move in here.
Yeah.
Garvin, you don't act without pirate permission.
Exactly. But I don't want you to think, I don't want anybody to think that it is Tortuga. No. Like I say like Tortuga with class. So think the same kind of people that would hang out in Tortuga and want to do those kinds of things. However, again, as we've talked about, because the ocean is so difficult to maneuver, anybody who does it has money. Right? So all of the dwarven pirates are going to be a higher class citizen as far as their wealth, right? So upper middle class is going to be the average dwarven pirate, right? So when they call a place home, it's not going to be this rundown junky town where people are shooting each other and, you know,
duels are going to happen.
Well, duels will happen, but it's not going to be this like lawless place. No. It's going to be this place where
more freedom, but less.
I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do because nobody's going to say otherwise. Kind of an attitude. So,
and you kind of know your place. If you're not a pirate and you're living here and you're supporting that, you know that you kind of have to belong. Yeah. You don't piss off the pirates.
Right. So.
You don't bite the hand that feeds you.
All right.
And then our last city.
We do have to talk about the breweries a little bit. We kind of skipped over that.
The breweries?
This is where the breweries would be. This is where your alcohol is their major export coming from, because they are taking in the stuff they get from everywhere else as well and cultivating some really unique brews. The King's Brew, I think, is one of our options, and it is highly potent and creates a great time for a lot of people.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah. So
On to
then
the
we
last one,
have the city of Vice.
Hey, what do they do in Vice?
This is the city where people go to have fun.
We joke
What
about
happens
it.
in Vice
Stays.
stays in Vice.
Vice is the home of Dave's Moo Moo Emporium.
Yes.
You want your drug milk? You got your drug milk.
Right. You want to gamble? You can gamble. You want to fight? You can fight. You want to, it's the city of go and have fun, do whatever you want.
So you have Paradise, which is your family-friendly vacation spot, and then you have Vice, which is your bachelorette party style city. It is the place.
Well, Paradise would be Dubai.
Yep. High class, high quality, high shopping.
And Vice would be Vegas. So.
But you also still have your gambling in Paradise, but it's a very different kind of table.
Right.
And also the stakes are very different. Your gambling cities, not money.
You also have a lot of money in Vegas.
Yes.
So Vice still has a lot of money going through it. And the places that you can stay in Vice, because it would be more of a vacation spot, the places you can stay are still going to be nice. This isn't going to be a rundown gross town. It's just going to be more of like a... You know how in Garvin, the police have to ask permission to get into Garvin? In Vice, they just don't. Vice has created its own, like, we maintain our own city, and everybody else just
kind of has a
stays
mob
out.
feel. Like if you are one of the wealthy owners, you have your own private security force, and you police your peace. Each of them work together to police their peace and keep it safe for the high rollers as well. But you're also going to have your highest population of, like, this is where apartment living and like on top of each other structures happen, because the areas where people tour and have tourism is going to be big, lavish, spaced out.
Yep.
Everyone else crammed in the corner. Get over there. You don't belong where the big people are.
Right, we're gonna have Airbusol races, and gambling, and yeah. So, do we want to, now that we're 32 minutes into our 30-minute episode?
That's not bad.
Do you want to real quick cover the uniforms for the police, and I'll do that, or do we want to save that for another episode?
Well, because we're done with Garthia at this point in time, so if we don't.
So let's just wrap up
If we
Garthia
don't
and-
wrap it up here, we're not coming back to it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hit me with the police.
All right. So we talked about this. We had like we didn't really discuss what it would look like per se. So we had about 10 minutes to kind of put this together, and I loved it because this is 10 minutes of work, and this is what we get. It's great. The police uniforms are blue and gray, and that's kind of the thing. And then on one side of the shoulder, they're very utilitarian. It's very much functional and focused. On one shoulder, they have the coat of arms of Garthia, so you know who they belong to. And then the other side, they actually have the Garthia silhouette as a whole, and the interior of that is the celestial number written for 20. There's a special number system for the language of the gods, and so to kind of pay homage to the godly nature of Garthia, because it is still Affirma, the central hub of religion, they utilize the celestial speak, the celestial writing embroidered onto the uniforms. Rank didn't really go over rank as far as the police force goes. Yes, they have different rank and individuals, but it's all going to be based on. I just want to blank for a second. Yes, there's rank. Yes, I'm blank on that. That's okay. I can come back to that in a minute. As Jeff is now going to move into our militaristic uniforms for the actual standing army of Garthia.
All right, so military uniforms are the same, no matter what rank you are or where you're at. The metal used for the armory, or from the armory, is a silvery gray. So kind of a dull, like basic coloring, right? Everyone's helmet and outfit is identical. There's no distinguishing factors except the rank itself. Now, if you are in armor, you're going to fight, right? If you're not in your armor, but you're on duty, your outfit is black. It's like a black leather, and you wear a cape that has the Garthian symbol embroidered on the cape, and then silver outline, right? So it's that gray, that dark gray color. It's all dark gray, so it's all very, very uniform. You're just a soldier, right? And then it's embroidered with the symbol of Garthia. Now, the difference or the standout with the Army is they are required to, while on duty, carry their helmet with them. Whether they wear it, whether they strap it to their belt, whether they have it under their arm, it doesn't matter. They have to carry it. It has to be on their person if they're on duty, period. Okay? The helmet is gray. Kind of has that Spartan look to it. So it covers the eyes like this and down the nose, right? And then there's plumes. If you are a lower ranking person, so rank 1 through 5, right? In our world, it would be your enlisted. You're rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a single plume. And if you're an officer, so a higher ranking individual, you have 3, right? And the plumes are at rank 1 for both of them. So your lower enlisted rank 1 and your officer rank 1, which is technically rank 6, you're going to have brown plumes. Your rank 2 and 7 are going to be blue plumes. Your rank 3 and 8 are green plumes. Your rank 4 and 9 are red plumes. Your rank 5 and 10 are pink plumes. The reason we chose pink for your your high ranking individuals is because pink is difficult to make, right? So we went with simplicity to create colors to complexity to create colors, right? So pink is a very, very complex. And then the general of the Army in Garthia is purple.
That royal color.
That royal color. Yeah. So that's how the military ranks and everything works.
So you can have a whole bunch of featherheads defending Garthia, and I love it. Only it's like more like Mohawk, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Mohawk, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like not plumes, but like
rigid. Like Roman soldiers.
Yeah.
The Mohawk all the way across, or the triple Mohawk.
Okay.
The Rufio.
Oh, hey.
All right.
That's a Garthia end. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, actually. I think we've covered everything about Garthia.
Oh, man. We're going to have to maybe double back a little bit because,
we covered enough.
We covered a lot of Garthia.
Well.
Because I didn't actually, because we went to space in the last one. I totally didn't cover any of the architecture of the last stuff.
I think we talked about it enough.
A little bit, yeah.
In the 4 episodes, it got covered.
Yeah.
So
we talked about the architecture the first episode a little bit, like just the generalness of it.
Yeah. The different styles, and then the grandiose nature of it. Because Garthia is the city nation of the world, the capital.
The capital of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Post-affirmation.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Right. I think that's it.
All right.
Well, okay, guys, we should hopefully be live again. We had a thing where we had to do some YouTube work that we weren't prepared for, and so it put us on a timer until we could actually go live again, which is why we're doing 2 recorded episodes this week. Next week, we will be back to live, hopefully, barring all interactions.
Pending something.
Pending some information from YouTube. And then we'll be able to go live again and be able to take your questions and field your stuff, and you can help us flush out, put some more meat on these here bones of Savarion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It'll be a lot of
guys.
fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.